So I sat here and I read the whole Atlantic article detailing the text messages on Signal between these Trump administration high officials. I sat here and read the whole article, and now everybody is talking about it. Everybody is talking about this stunning revelation of incompetence, utter stupidity and ineptitude that is the Trump administration. I'm about to talk about the reaction and the commentary to this story, but before that, I'm just going to give you this post. Kumail says, he's just so stupid. He's so breathtakingly stupid that the above statement is all it takes for every person reading this to know exactly who I'm talking about. And I'm just going to put that there because the administration that he has chosen, because he is so inept, mirrors him, because during his first administration he ran all the people out that actually had qualifications, and now we are stuck with this show. That is where we are. This woman, Brianna, made this comment under my YouTube post saying, "Ma'am, I served 9 years in the U.S. Army. I was honorably and medically discharged as a Sergeant E5. If myself or anyone my rank or lower did this, no one would even know where we were. We'd just be gone. Leavenworth and Guantanamo Bay, absolutely valid options for locking up a traitor to our country, no matter their rank." And then Honey Badger said ditto. Navy, the syntax of the message chilled me to the bone. Hashtag Russian asset Trump. Nopesy Daisy says, same for me as a former DOE grunt. At best, my career would have been destroyed. At worst, I get the Snowden treatment. So that is people in the comment section. All right, so another comment from my comment section. The political cat says, this is what happens when you have DUI hires instead of DEI. Now I want to hear from Pete Hegseth. Not Pete Hegseth of right now in the Trump administration, Pete Hegseth that used to work for Fox. This is when he was talking about Biden handling classified documents. You have got to hear this because he talks about the 2 tiers of justice in this clip between him and Harris Faulkner. So listen to this exchange.
President of the United States, which does create complications, but it also increases the urgency. If the top man in the job was handled classified documents this flippantly for that long, why was that the case? Was it really that he didn't know? Because when you take something out of a skiff, if you're a senator, you know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly what you're doing. And you're moving it. You had to sneak it out. Or someone gave it to you with the wrong protocol, which you were complicit in. And then you don't even know how many you have, and you've clearly hidden them from the public. You're the president of the United States. As was stated earlier by Governor Sununu, if at the very top there's no accountability, why should there be for Christian Saucier, the submariner who took photos in a submarine and didn't even show them to anybody, just had them, and they wanted to throw away the key on the guy? That's the 2 tiers of justice that exist. This is going to haunt the Biden campaign should he try to run, because this connects dots to Hunter. This connects dots to foreign interference or the foreign influence. And if anyone in the press outside of this network actually does any homework, the smoke is right there. The question is, will they do it? And Biden's political opponents know that weakness, and they'll continue to foment it.
Yeah, the worst part so far that legal experts have told me, Pete, is finding
DOJ and FBI.
In my comment section, people are like, but her emails. And even this Fox panel were talking about her emails in 2016 because they wanted Hillary Clinton locked up because of her emails. So I'm going to play this clip, but it says, how damaging is it to your ability to recruit or build allies with others when they are worried that our leaders may be exposing them because of their gross negligence or their recklessness in handling information? Watch this clip.
By criminals or threats. In military, there are sources. You have sources that provide information, intelligence to you on how to identify criminals or threats. How damaging is it to your ability to recruit or build allies with others when they are worried that our leaders may be exposing them because of their gross negligence or their recklessness in handling information?
Well, it's extremely problematic. Look, if people don't trust you, they're not going to work with you. They're not going to cooperate with you. And look, we have to rely on informants. We have to rely on people who, operate in those circles, who have information, especially with national security, but domestic security as well. We can't get it done without informants. But I'll tell you right now, the biggest concern of any informant is they don't want to be outed. But you look at what's going on here now, this wouldn't be the first time.
Law enforcement and
then back in 2016, talking about Hillary Clinton, we got little Marco saying nobody is above the law, not even Hillary Clinton. All these people wanted her locked up. What are they going to say about this situation? What are they going to say? Well, Pete Hegseth was asked about this exchange on Signal outside of this plane before he was set to take off. Listen to how he does not answer the questions at all. He does not answer at all. Then he deflects, and then he starts talking about all kind of other stuff, but he does not answer. How did you all start? Why are you texting on Signal? He does not address that. He then starts to try to besmirch the Atlantic and besmirch the writer and all that kind of stuff, because that is their playbook. They're not going to accept responsibility because he knows what he said, talking about classified documents and everything. So what is he going to say about this? I need some accountability. I need him to have his words played back to him.
Can you share how your information about war plans against the Houthis in Yemen was shared with a journalist in The Atlantic, and were those details classified?
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia, or the fine people on both sides hoax, or suckers and losers hoax. So this is the guy that peddles in garbage. This is what he does. I would love to comment on the Houthi campaign because of the skill and courage of our troops. I've monitored it very closely from the beginning. And you see, we've been managing 4 years of deferred maintenance under the Trump administration. Our troops, our sailors were getting shot at as targets. Our ships couldn't sail through. And when they did shoot back, it was purely defensively or at shacks in Yemen. President Trump said, no more. We will reestablish deterrence, we will open freedom of navigation, and we will ultimately decimate the Houthis, which is exactly what we're doing as we speak from the beginning, overwhelmingly.
Why were those details shared on Signal, and how did you learn that a journalist was privy to the targets, the types of weapons used?
I've heard I was characterized. Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Trump was also asked about this whole situation, and it's so strange that all of us are seeing all of these accounts, but he knows nothing about this. All he can do is try to talk badly and insult the Atlantic and that kind of thing. He doesn't actually know anything. Like, how are you the president and you're not getting roped into this information? But all of us people who are like watching the news and reading the news, we're getting information? How is that possible, Trump? Now, I do have a video clip of this, but I'm going to put it at the very end, just in case I don't want anybody to swipe off of this video because this person is talking. So it'll be at the very end. Kat says, so the president doesn't know about the security leak that the rest of the world knows about. That's more concerning than the actual leak. Mesa says too busy staring at his golf trophies and Ivanka to pay attention. Jenny doesn't even think he knows what Signal is. He probably doesn't know what Signal is, which is terrible. We literally got this person in the presidency that knows nothing about nothing. He literally does not seem like he's very roped in to what the world is what's going through. So here's an Axios article that's given the reaction of lots of people. Somebody said heads should roll. Congress erupts over stunning Trump admin leak. So let's look at some of the other reactions. Members of Congress in both parties exploded in anger Monday after the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic revealed he was inadvertently included in a highly sensitive Trump administration signal chat on airstrikes in Yemen. Some Democrats are already calling for an investigation and potential repercussions against the national security officials involved in the lapse. This is an outrageous national security breach, and heads should roll. Representative Chris DeLuzio of Pennsylvania. He added, "We need a full investigation and hearing into this on the House Armed Services Committee ASAP. We can't just chalk this up to a simple mistake. People should be fired for this," said Representative Sarah Jacobs, Democrat out of California, another Armed Service Committee member. Between the lines, people identifying as Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, National Security Advisor Michael Waltz, and VP Vance were among 18 people in the signal chat, per The Atlantic's Jeffrey Goldberg. And like I said, I already went through the whole Atlantic article, but I'm not going to rehash that. I will post these emojis that Michael Waltz used after bombing Yemen: a fist, the American flag, and the fire emoji. The clown was just a little extra bonus that was added. So this is how they're talking after bombing in Signal. All right, back to more reaction. At this time, the message thread that was reported appears to be authentic, and we are reviewing how an inadvertent number was added to the chain. National Security Council spokesperson Brian Hughes said in the statement, "The thread is a demonstration of the deep and thoughtful policy coordination between senior officials. The ongoing success of the Houthi operation demonstrates that there were no threats to our service members or our national security," Hughes said. Oh, okay. Even though they're leaking information? Oh, okay. Representative Don Bacon, Republican from Nebraska, another Armed Service Committee member, and a former Air Force Brigadier General, told Axios, "I've accidentally sent the wrong person a text. We all have." But, he added, the unconscionable action was sending this info over non-secure networks. None of this should have been sent on non-secure systems. Russia and China are surely monitoring his unclassified phone. Mike Lawler, Republican out of New York, said in a post on X, "Safeguards must be put in place to ensure this never happens again." He's not speaking about any consequences, though. Representative Derek Van Orden, from a Republican from Wisconsin, in a phone interview with Axios, argued there needs to be some form of administrative accountability, such as retraining if the breach was a mistake. Retraining. Like the other person said, these people would be sent, if they were lower, they would be sent to Guantanamo Bay or something. This is bad. They need to be fired at the very least, not a retraining. If it was intentional, Van Orden said, there should be legal accountability. He asserted such reprisals were missing over the last 4 years under the Biden travesty of an administration. So they need to keep bringing Biden's name, but this is all on Trump and the Trump administration. Why are they even saying Biden's name? Asked if resignations may be warranted, Van Orden responded, "There's a scenario for anything you can think of," though he also argued this was an isolated incident. Yeah, right. We don't know that for sure. Yes, but House Speaker Mike Johnson, Republican from Louisiana, offered a more defensive response, arguing that the administration has acknowledged it was a mistake. They'll tighten up and make sure it doesn't happen again. I don't know what else you can say about that, he told reporters. Nothing's going to happen to these people. Absolutely nothing. And we know that. But we'll see. And I'm sure that everybody's going to continue to talk about this throughout the day tomorrow. But this is what you get when you vote in inept, unsmart people. This is what happens. This is where we are. Let me know what you think about all of this. Join the conversation. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. I'm putting Trump now. So if you want to scroll away, you could go ahead and swipe away.
To the story in the Atlantic that said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides had been discussing very sensitive material through Signal and included an Atlantic reporter for that. What is your response to that?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of the Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
With the Houthis.
The Houthis? You mean the attack on the Houthis? Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time. Anybody else?